As Rick sat alone on the bench, the thought of betrayal gnawed at his mind like an old wound reopening. His eyes fixed on the ground, but his thoughts drifted elsewhere, to moments where trust had been broken and alliances had faltered. He remembered the sting of misplaced faith, the times when comrades he thought he could rely on had turned against him. Promises made in the heat of battle, only to be abandoned when the odds shifted. The faces blurred in his memory, but the pain remained sharp. Each betrayal left a scar, not on his body but on his ability to trust. Rick's fingers tapped lightly against his knee as he wrestled with the memories. Even now, surrounded by the supposed safety of the camp, he couldn't help but question the motives of those around him. Was Nazer truly an ally, or was he just another figure biding his time, waiting to use Rick for his own gain? Trust, Rick muttered under his breath, his tone heavy with disdain. It's just another weapon, and I'm not handing it over again. He looked up briefly, the faint light of the city hall casting long shadows across the camp. Those shadows felt like a fitting metaphor, constant, inevitable, and always there to remind him of the risks lurking in the unknown. Rick leaned back slightly, exhaling deeply. Being alone wasn't ideal, but it was better than being stabbed in the back. At least, that's what he kept telling himself. Yet, as he sat in the stillness, the loneliness began to settle in, heavy and inescapable. The thought of betrayal lingered, not as a fear but as a reminder. It was a lesson he had learned well, a painful truth he carried with him, even as he prepared for the battles ahead. Rick's eyes narrowed as he looked toward the gate beside the town hall. At first, he wasn't sure if his mind was playing tricks on him. But there, walking toward him through the shadows, was a figure he knew all too well. Sparrow? The name slipped from his lips, almost in disbelief. He hadn't seen her in what felt like forever. As she approached, Rick's heart gave a jolt. Her familiar stride, her presence, it was all so real, yet so unexpected. Sparrow's face held a mixture of determination and calm, but there was something in her eyes that suggested she had been through much since their last meeting. She stopped in front of him. As Sparrow walked toward him, Rick's heart skipped a beat. I can't believe it's really her, after all this time. What's she doing here now? I didn't expect to see her again, not like this. His mind raced with a mix of shock and relief, unsure whether to feel comforted or caught off guard. Sparrow sat beside Rick, the weight of the moment hanging between them. She glanced at him, then down at the ground, before speaking. She began, her voice steady but tinged with frustration.
I need to talk to you about something important. Something that can't wait.
Rick turned to face her, his brow furrowing in curiosity.
What's going on, Sparrow? You look like you're carrying the weight of the world right now.
She let out a deep sigh, her eyes scanning the camp before locking back onto him.
Nazer won't let me join the camp. He says it's too dangerous, that I'll only be a liability. As if I haven't proven myself already.
What? But you're one of the strongest people I know. Why would he say that?
It's not about strength, Rick. It's about trust. I think he's hiding something, and maybe he doesn't trust me to be a part of his plan. Or maybe he just doesn't want anyone questioning his decisions. Either way, I can't sit back while everything falls apart.
You've always fought for what's right. I don't get it. Why wouldn't he see that?
That's what I don't know. But I've been looking into something bigger. Something we can't ignore, Black Mire. It's worse than anyone's letting on. The creatures, the terrain, the strange things happening out there. It's a mess. But Nazer won't listen. He's too busy keeping his control over the camp to see the bigger picture.
So you want me to go after Black Mire? What are we dealing with exactly?
Worse than we've faced so far. Mutated creatures, strange, toxic gas clouds, traps set by factions we don't even understand. It's a nightmare. But I've gathered intel, and if we don't act fast, it'll spread fast. We can't afford to wait for Nazer's approval.
What do you need from me, Sparrow? Why come to me now?
I need you to trust me, Rick. I can't do this alone, and I don't expect anyone else to be ready. But you've always known how to fight. And I trust you more than anyone else. If we're going to take on Black Mire, we need to be strong, we need to be smart. We need to work together, not rely on someone who's too afraid to act.
Rick took a deep breath, processing the gravity of her words. His mind flickered with doubt, his past pain, the betrayal he'd felt, but looking at Sparrow, he knew there was no one else he could rely on right now.
All right, let's do this. We'll head out there together, figure out what's really going on in Black Mire. But you're right about one thing, we can't wait for Nazar. We're on our own. I knew I could count on you, Rick. Let's get ready.
Rick and Sparrow stood up, the tension between them palpable as they moved toward the helicopter. Sparrow's frustration with Nazar was clear in her every step.
This is madness, Rick. Nazar just sits there while everything falls apart. He's so busy trying to hold on to control, but he's not doing anything to stop what's coming. People are suffering, and he won't even let me in the damn camp. What's he thinking?
I know, Sparrow. He's playing it safe, hoping that staying on the sidelines will keep things from getting worse. But we both know it's not working. He's just too afraid to make a real move.
We're doing this, Rick. Together. We don't need his approval to get the job done. We take care of Black Mire our way.
Rick gave her a steady nod. They climbed into the helicopter, the sound of the blades whirring to life as they took off, ready to face whatever came next.
Finally, someone has come. You guys are from the Federation. I need your help. The village up ahead has been ravaged by the infection. We can't let it spread any further. Trust me. I know this place better than any of you. We've got to stay close to me. If you're tired, take a break. Who could imagine? This place once buzzed with prosperity. The path is blocked. I'll dismantle the mechanism and you take care of those pesky ravens. Path cleared. Continue forward. If you're tired, take a break. Since the infection hit, everything's gone haywire. Hold off these infected. I'll activate the next mechanism. Path cleared. Continue forward. We're closing in on the village, and the signs of infection are getting worse. If you're tired, take a break. Watch out for that big guy over there. It spotted us. This is it. Final trap. The village is just a short way ahead. Everything changed after that gang calling themselves Heimdall showed up. But I couldn't do a thing to stop it. We're almost at the village, but the path ahead is gonna get tougher. This is the only way into the swamp, and there's even bigger trouble ahead. So brace yourself, and stay sharp. Instead of worrying about me, you'd better watch your own back. Wiping out the infection is our top priority, obviously. But we gotta survive to keep hope alive, right? No, the infection has spread this far already. Let's put an end to this, right here, right now. Please, set her free from these chains. Let's keep moving. It's gonna take me a while to come to terms with my own incompetence. We're getting close to the infected's location. I'll activate the suspension bridge and you guys just follow the path straight ahead. I still have unfinished business here. You are on your own from now on. This mechanism is rather complicated. I'm gonna need some time. Let's in this way. Keep your defense up. The suspension bridge is almost down. Hurry over this way. Be careful out there. There are suppressors keeping the mutant contained. You need to shut down the suppressors and set it free. I've automatically activated a team revival point for you guys.
Sparrow stood frozen in place, her eyes locked on the monstrous creature before her. The mutated snake was massive, its glistening, metallic scales shimmering in the dim light, its tongue flicking in and out as it hissed menacingly. Every muscle in her body tensed, ready for action, but she didn't move. She was too stunned by the sight of it, the sheer size and grotesque form of the creature. Rick, on the other hand, was already in motion. His eyes narrowed as he surveyed the threat. There was no hesitation in his movements. He had seen creatures like this before, but that didn't make it any easier. His hand reached for his assault rifle, fingers wrapping around the grip as he took aim. Sparrow watched, her breath held, as Rick lined up his shot. The creature lunged, its jaws snapping wide, but Rick was faster. He squeezed the trigger, the sharp sound of gunfire cutting through the air. The first few shots rang out, striking the creature in its side, causing it to writhe in pain, but it wasn't enough. The snake hissed louder, angry, relentless. Sparrow's heart raced as Rick fired again, the rapid bursts of gunfire tearing through the creature's scales. Each shot hit its mark with precision, but the creature's massive form still seemed unyielding. Sparrow's eyes followed the path of the bullets, watching as Rick continued to fire, each shot more deliberate, more calculated. Finally, with one last shot, the creature let out a deafening hiss before collapsing to the ground in a heap, its body twitching once before going still. Dust settled in the air, the only sound now the fading echo of the assault rifle's final blast. Sparrow exhaled sharply, her body still tense with adrenaline. She hadn't realized how tightly she had been holding her breath until the creature was finally down. Her gaze shifted to Rick, who stood there, the rifle lowered, his expression hard and focused. He had handled it quickly, decisively, but Sparrow couldn't help the uneasy feeling that settled in her gut. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence hung between them like a heavy weight, the reality of what they had just encountered sinking in.
Rick, reload his weapons, go to helicopter, and leave the Black Mire.